Welcome to the Built for Playmakers YouTube channel. I'm your host, Kelvin Hunt, editor of ChopChat.com. Hope you guys are doing well. If this is your first time checking the channel out and you're an FSU fan, you came to the right place. Certainly appreciate you guys giving us a chance. Those of you that have been rocking with me for a while, you know what to expect, man. We're going to get into this big week, man. LSU, big win, blowout, and we're going to talk about the offense in particular. Those of you that have listened to some of the videos in the past, you know that I believe the offense is what's going to dictate the success of the FSU program this year. And I thought the LSU game was a prime example of that. You had the defense, getting some stops, and the offense failing to take advantage of those opportunities in the first half. And the defense really kept them in the game. And then you saw how when the offense really took off in the second half and the defense, did their part, it was no contest, man. So I'm going to get into some video just in certain situations where it looks like this FSU team is going to be elite, so to speak. And normally teams that get in these situations, they'll have a difficult time overcoming them. But that does not seem to be the case with this FSU team. And man, I'm really excited to kind of get into it because I was looking at the game like, wow, this is impressive, especially the second half, right? And then going back to Mike Norvell this week and last week in practice. Last week it was like 2 or 3 days before the game, he said they had a practice that was kind of, he didn't say lackluster, but, he pretty much was like, it wasn't up to par. It was, there were some things they needed to clean up. And, those things showed up in the first half, but the coaching staff does a really good job of making sure that those guys are held accountable and, to get those things cleaned up and to finish strong. And so because they hold them accountable, those players know, okay, we were not up to standard in the first half. They go into halftime, do what they do, and then they come back in the second half and know because they've done it in practice, they've overcame, being lackluster, whatever in practice. They know they can do it in the game. And, and so that's what you got to have. And especially, I thought it was big after practice on Wednesday, Mike Norvell, you could tell like things probably went well at practice, but there was like some little things that he was probably nitpicking about, but he was on them because of that. He's looking for perfection. And that's what you got to have, especially at this point in the game. Whenever you beat a team like that, it's real easy to kind of just say, oh man, look, we didn't even play that well. And, we beat the brakes off those guys. So we can just do that anytime. But you have that mentality. But I tell you what, listening to these player interviews, Keandre Jones, I was really impressed with this interview the other day. And Joshua Farmer, same deal. You can tell this team has, even before the game, a lot of those guys were talking real confident, like, hey, they're going to feel us, or, they're going to know what we're about, and that sort of deal. And, listening to Joshua Farmer, he was talking about how the LSU offensive lineman was like, hey, man, you guys are good. And Farmer was like, yeah, don't tell me that. If you tell me that, I'm really going to turn it on, and try to show you what's what, and that's that killer instinct that you got to have. And, same deal with Jaheim Bell. Jaheim Bell was like, hey, man, I'm here. I just wanted to make sure that they felt me, that sort of deal. And then Keandre Jones was talking about how, they could tell in the second half where they started to lean on those guys a little bit. And it's almost, and I use this analogy back on my podcast days. I talked about how you got to look at it like an MMA fight. Like if you ever been in a fight or watched a fight, you can see two guys that are somewhat equal, there may be some give and take. You might land a big punch here, or you might get a big takedown or whatever. But if you're in that fight or watching the fight, you can kind of see a guy start to fade. And it's like whenever you see that guy start to fade, it's like, I don't know, it's like an energy boost. Like you're like, oh, he's breaking. I'm gonna go ahead and finish him off right here. And that's kind of what you saw in the LSU game whenever they came back and started establishing the run. I thought that was real big. I mentioned it in my other video after the game. I felt like they got away from the run a little bit too much in the first half. 11 runs compared to 21 passes. Second half, they got back to the run game, and I looked. They actually had 2 more runs than pass plays at the end of the game. So I thought that was, that was a pretty big tell there. But yeah, so I got the cinematic recap going on here. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, man, those are always fire. Make sure you go to the YouTube page there on FSU Seminoles, and it's up there. You can watch the full totality there. But I'm going to go ahead and get to a video here. Let's see. Let's go with this one. Okay. So the point I'm making about why it's going to be really difficult to beat FSU this year, as you see right here, is 2nd and 10. And so we always talk about having, success rates, good success rate on first down. You want to get 4 or 5 yards on first down. So it's 2nd and short. That way it's 3rd and short. It's easier to convert those things, right? So here, obviously, they didn't have, this is in the 4th quarter, by the way. They didn't have any success on the first down. So you stopped at the line of scrimmage. So it's 2nd and 10. And we're going to roll the footage and see what happens. Look at that. Just nobody out there. Touchdown. Now, you could look at this. You could look at this and say, well, it's the 4th quarter. You probably have broken their will, so to speak. Watch Jaheim Bell right here. What he does is he comes off the line. He sells block. So it looks like it's going to be a screen pass out here. I think it's Johnny Wilson out here. He looks like he's going to break down and try to block this guy. Watch this. If you can see it. See, that's Morlock. He kind of stutter stepped right here. And the defender thought he was going to block. They thought they were going to go out hit a Morlock. You see the defender, look at that. They all bit over their Morlock. Touchdown. Right. So let's go here. Let's go to this one. So this is 2nd quarter, 3rd and 12. Again, 3rd and long. You don't want to be in these situations, but they make it look so easy. They rush 3. No problem. Winston Wright with a huge catch right there. They drop 8. He's got all day to throw because they only rush 3. Completion. Move the chains. We'll go here. Third and 14. Again, you don't want to be in the situation. Look at that. Whoop. Wide open. Nobody within 15 yards of Johnny Wilson. How is Johnny Wilson that open? That's crazy, right? So watch. They're going to spy Harold Perkins. I think Harold Perkins is right here, right? We're going to see Jordan Travis kind of roll this way, and you're going to see Perkins commit, right? And then Jordan's going to roll back this way. I want you probably seen this block already. I want you to watch this block that Casey Roddick puts on Harold Perkins. Right here, right up here. Watch right here. Boom! And look at the receivers blocking downfield. Man, that's beautiful. This is 2nd and 14. Again, you don't want to be in these situations. And you're inside your own 10 right here on your own, almost on your own goal line. Watch this. They rush 3 again, drop 8. Well, they keep Perkins in there as a spy. Get a 1-on-1. Now, the name of this podcast or YouTube channel is Built for Playmakers. Obviously, I named it after, Mike Neville saying that the offense is built for playmakers because I'm a playmaker, you know what I'm saying? But look, they rush 3. They keep Harold Perkins in the spy. And a lot of people are making a big deal about them keeping Harold Perkins in the spy. I really don't think it would make that big of a difference if he was rushing, because either way, you're taking with him spying, he's you're basically taking him out of the picture because he's focused on Travis. If you bring him in as a rusher, then somebody is going to be there's more space out here open to where he would be if he was spying. So I really don't think it's that big of a deal. I just think a lot of people look. He played well last year. He made some big time plays, but I said it on Twitter before the game. I feel like Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins are two of the best play callers and just game planners out there, and they always seem to have a plan, no matter who they go up against. But yeah, so we'll watch this one more time. They're going to rush 3, and Perkins is going to spy. You see, there's a man coverage out here. Man coverage. And Keon Coleman said that there's no such thing as a 50-50 ball with him and the defender. And that seems like that's the case. Let's see. I think I showed that one already. 3rd and 8. Let's go here to this one. 3rd and 8. You don't want to be in 3rd and 8. Look. Oh, now you got to worry about Jordan Travis running the ball. They've converted all these 3rd and longs with passes, right? And so this is in the early 4th quarter. It's a 1-score game now. 1-score game. And they forget all about Jordan Travis. Whoop. Easy conversion. Man, that's beautiful. And so then again, it's late in the well, it's still the 4th quarter, but they start to lean on this LSU defensive front. And I think this is Trey Benson running I think it's a counter play. Yep. Look at that. Whoop. You see them starting to have success. Whenever you see this late in the game, this is always a good sign. That was nifty. So look, you're going to have Maurice Smith here, right? And you're going to have, I'm not sure who that is, pulling, but you'll see this guy here. He's gonna get beat Maurice Smith pretty much. But because they're pulling and running to this side, that basically negates Maurice Smith getting beat here. Look. Do it one more time. Look, he's already beat, right? But because Morlock, this guy's pulling here, he's waiting on blocks. That was a nice block on Morlock. Man, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. So that's all of the offensive plays. I did want to show one defensive play, and because I know a lot of people were like, man, the LSU receivers were running wide open all night, and all this stuff. And look, they made some plays, guys. Gabe Neighbors is a player. He's gonna play in the NFL. The Lacey, I think the second option, he's not bad either. And they got a really good tight end. Look, and Jaden Daniels is not a scrub. And whenever you have to account for his legs, I mean, there's so many things going on with LSU's offense. There's a lot to prepare for. Anytime you have a mobile quarterback, it's just difficult to prepare for. And he's one of the best out there to do it. Jaden Daniels, that is. And you see him with Jordan Travis, man. It's difficult to rein him in, especially when you can throw the ball. And Jaden Daniels finished with a 58% completion percentage. Now, they did drop like 2 balls, but still, I mean, you're talking about 60, 61%. But this is a prime example of kind of what FSU DBs were dealing with. And they were putting these guys out on an island, especially whenever they were on those goal line stands. They were putting these guys on an island. So here's Finchel Cypress against Gabe Neighbors. Watch this. Look at this. Whew. He's there, man. He's there. He just misses the tackle. But then, Shaheem Brown is right there to clean it up. But watch this. Watch this. And that's a timing play. Jaden Daniels is already throwing the ball. We'll stop it. Like the ball is on the way. The ball is on the way right now. Look. I mean, there's not too much you can do with that. That's, you could say, hey, you want to, it looks like he's mirroring him right here. You could say you can jam him or whatever, but I mean, that's really good coverage, man. It's just a better throw and catch. You would like to see him, make that tackle and wrap up right there. But then again, Shaheem Brown is right there. Akeem Dennis there to clean it up. So yeah, man, that was a big time. That was big time. So there's a lot to like about that game. And now that we know what Clemson looks like after, playing Duke, whenever I made the last video, I was talking about how, we'll see what, Duke and Clemson look like. Clemson looked much worse than I anticipated. And that's why I picked FSU to beat them in my season predictions, before the season started, obviously. I had them at 65% chance of winning that game. And because you're talking about a new quarterback who's relatively inexperienced still, he didn't look great last year, especially not in the bowl game against Tennessee. And Tennessee's defense was very similar to FSU's defense last year, stats-wise. And so looking at that game the other night, Clemson had no vertical threat whatsoever. All they had was Will Shipley running the ball and, throwing little horizontal passes and screen passes and things like that. You can tell that Garrett Riley does not have full confidence in Klubnik running that full offense. So, yeah. So I think FSU should definitely take care of Clemson in that fourth game of the season. Now, a lot of people are asking me, what do I think about Duke? Look, I mean, Duke played. They had 2 turnovers that should have cost them. Clemson just wasn't good enough offensively to take advantage of it. Defensively, Clemson, I mean, they made it tough on Duke. Riley Leonard, like I said, he's kind of like a poor man's Jordan Travis. And, he made some plays, but I don't think Duke's offense I don't think it's dynamic enough to give FSU's defense that many problems. Leonard is good. Is he better than Jaden Daniels? Probably not. He's definitely not as good of a scrambler. And Duke does not have the wide receivers or tight end that LSU does. So, the good thing about Adam Fuller's defense is they have faced multiple mobile quarterbacks over the last couple of years. You're talking about Malik Cunningham, who is damn near elite. You're talking about Anthony Richardson from Florida. You're talking about what's my guy that was at North Carolina, Sam Howell. He ran the ball quite a bit whenever he was there. So they faced mobile quarterbacks, and I don't think what Duke brings to the table is anything they haven't seen before. And Duke is good defensively, but they don't have dudes like LSU has dudes. So will they be able to stop FSU's run game the way LSU did in the first half? Probably not. Definitely not in the second half. And plus, and I said this before, by the time Duke rolls down the tally, they will have already played NC State and Pittsburgh, as well as Notre Dame, I think it is. So that'll be 3 physical games on top of already playing Clemson. And look, that quarterback, he took some licks against Clemson the other night. So by the time, if he runs the way he ran that night, by the time he gets to tally, it's going to be he may be limited somewhat as far as him running or being fully healthy to make some accurate throws. That's probably what hurt Jaden Daniels a little bit too, man. You know, what I mean, he got rocked out there. You know, talk about that hit with Tatum Bethune. You know, he got hit quite a bit. And you know, hey, whenever you get hit like that, man, it takes a toll on you, and it takes away from your accuracy. Just you know, you have these little aches and pains, and you don't quite set your feet and things like that. All those things take their toll on the quarterback. So moving forward, I don't really see too many. I just don't see it. You know, in my season predictions, I didn't see any issues as far as once you got past LSU and Clemson. And again, unless Clemson just somehow pulls Trevor Lawrence or somebody out of Klubnik and finds T. Higgins or somewhere at wide receiver or something. Now their defense is good, but they're still missing Brent Venables. I wasn't really concerned about Clemson's defense last year, and the issues that FSU had last year against Clemson, they addressed. You know, basically in the trenches. It was, you know, they couldn't stop the running game with Shipley because Fabian Lovett was hurt. Look, you saw nobody's really going to run the ball like that on FSU this year, all things considered right now. And then FSU had problems, you know, converting and you know, third and fourth and short. And you know, I think FSU's offensive line has gotten better since last year. Obviously, they're deeper also. So yeah, I like FSU in those games. So look, it's great to see FSU at number 4 in the nation, man. It's been a long time. I I went back and looked at, you know, just for shits and giggles, I went back and looked at the 2018 2018 dang Virginia Tech game, and I was like, man, we have come so far since then that it's not even funny. I mean, just the level of physicality that the FSU defense has, um, just the guys that they have, um, you know, they're on offensive line to move people, the willingness to block, the size outside with the receivers and tight ends, a tight end that can actually catch a ball and run it in from 30 yards out. I mean, this team, hey man, this team. I'm not saying they're 2013 because that team was special, but this team has an opportunity. This team has an opportunity to compete for a title. I thought so before the season began, but it's one of those things where you just, you know, you hear about practice, you look at some practice footage, you look at the spring game, which Keon Coleman wasn't even here. And then you got to look at it like, well, Keon Coleman, you know, he just got here in the summer. So how much did he really learn? But, you know, we heard that he just immersed himself in the playbook and, you know, he's a pro's pro, apparently, and it looks that way. So they have, you know, the depth that they need across the board. I will say, though, if you get into a situation where you're playing a Georgia, you know, well, I mean, damn, neither Ohio State and those guys, you know, it was game one. I mean, FSU didn't look great in the first half, so you know, you kind of got to grade it on the curve. But if you get into those situations where you did with LSU and it's, you know, 4th and 1, 4th and 2 on the goal line, you don't want to be in those situations with a team like Georgia who has just massive offensive linemen, and you know they can probably just run dive or power or something and get a first down or get the 1 yard to score. You know, you definitely have to, you know, I mentioned earlier is the margins of error are extremely small in those games, and so for instance, whenever LSU muffed the punt, that was a prime opportunity for FSU to really throw a haymaker, and throwing an interception on the very next play is not what you want to do, right? So those key situations, whenever a team makes a mistake, especially when you're playing somebody elite. Now, I didn't think LSU was elite. I thought FSU should have been ranked ahead of LSU in the preseason polls. I wrote about it on Chop Chat just because of the amount of production that was returning. I thought Jordan Travis was better than Jaden Daniels. And I just thought FSU improved everywhere a little bit more than LSU did, and that bore out. But whenever you're talking about, those games where the margins are very small, you just have to take advantage of them. You can't turn the ball over. You can't afford to throw the ball up, in the middle of the field and just count on it to fall on the turf and not get intercepted or ran back for a touchdown from 10 yards out. So as bad as FSU played, like they didn't play great in the first half, especially offensively. Defensively, they gave up a lot of yardage, which wasn't good. And again, credit to some of it's got to be credited to LSU. I mean, they're going to be a top 10, top 15 offense by the time the season's over. But they got some stuff to clean up. So we'll see what they look like against Southern Miss. I won't spend too much time on Southern Miss. I think I've spoken about them already. They're pretty limited in what they bring to the table on both sides of the ball. They don't have a whole lot of talent that you'll find against the LSU. It's an 8:30 game. Looks like the student section sold out at Duke, which is great to see. Always, as one of my criticisms of FSU is it's almost like, and I know FSU, Tallahassee is difficult to get to, but it always felt like unless we were just elite, you just didn't have that fan support like you would have at a Nebraska. As terrible as they've been, they just have all these continuous sellouts. And I know there's nothing to do in Nebraska and nothing to do in Clemson either, but still, you would like to see the stands a bit more full, even whenever things weren't great. Now, granted, look, they were awful, so I can't really blame fans too much, especially during the pandemic and all that stuff. Money was tight, but great to see that the student section sold out. And 8:30 kickoff under the lights again, and FSU should move to 2-0 fairly easy. I think this is a game that we'll probably see a lot of young guys come in, hopefully fairly early. We'll get to see some of the, we'll get to see Destin Hill, we'll get to see Vandrevius Jacobs and Hakeem Williams, and hopefully we'll get to see some of those young guys on defense. Omar Graham was in the game the other night on one of the goal line plays. Blake Nicholson, what's my guy? What's my safety? St. Aquinas, Conrad Hussey, KJ Kirkland. Get to see some of those guys. So should be a good time. I may record a quick preview for that game. I'm not sure, but you can definitely check me out on tomorrow night, which is Thursday night, September 7th at 8:30. I will be on my guy Polk 861 FSU on his YouTube channel. We'll be discussing FSU football. So make sure you check us out there. And look, I appreciate the support. You guys have me over 225 subscribers, which is amazing. I was at like 181, I think, the last time I recorded the other day. So appreciate the support. Keep sending the channel out to different FSU fans. Keep bringing those subscribers in. Like this video if you haven't liked it. That'll help us get out to more FSU fans. And hey, man, it's only up from here, baby. So until next time, go Noles.